The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were among the key events that marked the end of World War II. At that time, few people expected that such a powerful weapon existed, one capable of causing massive destruction and killing hundreds of thousands of people. The bombings forced Japan to accept the Potsdam Declaration, which declared their defeat in the war. However, the nuclear bomb used by the United States at that time was not the only powerful weapon of the World War II era. In fact, Nazi Germany had developed various new weapons technologies that were highly advanced and modern. Among them were biological weapons and nerve agents capable of spreading deadly diseases to humans. German scientists had also developed the V-1 and V-2 rockets, the most powerful long-range bombing rockets of that time. Because of this, when Nazi Germany was defeated, both the United States and the Soviet Union raced to secure the technological expertise of these German scientists. So, in this video, we will look at America's efforts to recruit Nazi Germany through an operation known as Operation Paperclip. Keep watching. Right after Germany surrendered, the Soviet Union and the United States began sending their expert teams across Europe, in areas previously controlled by Germany. This was to search for technologies developed by Germany during the war. From these surveys, American soldiers discovered several shocking findings. This included the discovery of weapons developed by Nazi Germany, things they had never imagined before. The story of this secret operation was documented by historian Annie Jacobsen in her book Operation Paperclip, the secret intelligence program that brought Nazi scientists to America. In the book, she stated that American soldiers were stunned when they found a secret laboratory developing nerve agents. They never expected that the Nazis had created a type of weapon capable of causing a deadly infectious outbreak, capable of killing many people. It was this shocking discovery that sparked the idea for a large-scale secret operation called Operation Paperclip. Since the United States expected to find even more weapons technology developed by Nazi Germany, they believed these weapons had to be fully utilized for their own benefit. However, the United States believed that bringing the weapons and technology back to America alone was not enough. They also needed people who truly knew how to handle them. In other words, they needed the skills and expertise of the German scientists themselves. At the same time, the Soviet Union had the same plan to obtain German military technology, and the United States already knew about it. To win this race, the US government brought 88 detained Nazi scientists to the United States, giving them a second chance at life. In return, these scientists had to agree to share their expertise with the United States. Nazi Germany was not only known for the power and firmness of its leader, Adolf Hitler, but also for its technological capabilities, which at that time were far more advanced than their enemies. Because of this advanced technological development, the United States became interested in the genius Nazi scientists who created devastating war technologies. The United States was desperate to have such experts under their control. This was because their wartime ally, the Soviet Union, had also launched a recruitment operation known as Operation Osoaviakhim. Among the important figures taken by the Soviets were Ferdinand Branner, an aircraft engine builder, and V-2 program manager, as well as von Braun's associate Helmut Grotrup. Seeing Britain and France's determination to acquire these Nazi assets for their scientific and civilian programs, it was no surprise that the military was willing to offer anything, including protection from prosecution, especially for war crimes and crimes against humanity. A bitter truth about Paperclip is that countries were willing to turn a blind eye to the dark past of these figures in the name of progress, something that made many military personnel involved in Operation Paperclip uncomfortable. Operation Paperclip was not an ordinary operation. It was highly classified. Only certain people within the US government and military knew about it. As expected, such an operation would not be welcomed by some, as it seemed to give these scientists a second chance despite their war crimes. For example, Wernher von Braun, the scientist who led the creation of the V-2 rocket, had used many prisoners of war from concentration camps as test subjects. Therefore, bringing him to the United States in Operation Paperclip surely caused moral conflict and resistance among the American public, especially the families of US soldiers killed by German forces. Because the operation was so secret, little was said about it. Although initially only 88 scientists were brought to the United States, the discovery of a classified document known as the Ozenberg List showed that 1,600 Nazi scientists and engineers were actually brought into the country under this operation. Their immediate families were also brought to the United States to ensure they remained committed to cooperating with the U.S. This secret operation was carried out by the Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency, JIOA, a new organization created specifically to run it. The JIOA was tasked with taking all German technology and expertise to develop U.S. military technology such as rockets, biological weapons, and chemical weapons. The JIOA's role was crucial to ensure these technologies did not fall into the hands of the Soviets. Realizing the potential conflict of bringing in scientists considered war criminals, President Harry Truman, who approved the operation, ordered that no scientist or engineer with a war crime record should be brought in, out of respect for the families of fallen U.S. soldiers. However, officials from the JIOA and the Office of Strategic Services, OSS, decided to erase and clean up the evidence and records of these scientists' war crimes, believing their expertise was essential to ensure the U.S. could match its enemies in military technology. Such an operation was not easy, especially with the media exposing the Nazi regime's atrocities at the time. Life magazine, for example, published photo series showing the conditions in camps such as Buchenwald and Auschwitz. According to official policy, any country sheltering Nazi fugitives, such as Argentina and Uruguay, had to stop doing so and extradite them for trial. But like the US and the Soviets, these countries also carried out their own versions of Paperclip to boost their economic, scientific, and technological development. Over time, this classified operation was finally exposed in November 1946. A report revealed that the United States had smuggled hundreds of Nazi members into the country, with another 1,000 on their way. The government tried to control the damage, but it was considered too late. Many historians believe that world history would have been different if German military technology had fallen into Soviet hands. If the Soviets had obtained this advanced wartime expertise, the United States might have lost the Cold War that followed World War II. It might also have been more difficult for the United States to become the major power it is today if Operation Paperclip had failed. Thank you for watching.